Here are some advanced tools to be an even more effective coach. You can benefit from practicing the tools one by one and also to get an experienced coach to give you feedback on your progress and performance. The advanced coaching tools are divided into 6 sections, and here are the tools and skills you will meet. Section 1. Linear and circular questions and powerful questions. Section 2. Reflect back. Section 3. Attentive and curious, appreciation, constructed reality, interruptions, symmetric relations, SMART goals, the inner dialogue. Section 4. Language structures. Section 5. Metaphors, intuition, habits and anchors, postponement syndrome, and learning styles. And finally, Section 6. Leadership coaching on private matters, team coaching, coaching and setting direction, a coach or a manager with a coaching attitude, and the mental contract. Linear and circular questions. Questions can be linear or circular. Circular questions are open questions like what, why, and how. Questions that bring a wide range of possibilities for an answer. These questions are best used if you want to give the focus person the chance to see more perspectives. Linear questions can also be open questions like what, why, and how. These questions are best used if you want to stay in one perspective to explore that in depth. Once you know that you have asked a powerful question leading to an important insight for the focus person, you may want to stay there and use linear questions and concentrate on discovering what this particular perspective is all about. For example, what kind of possibilities do you see in front of you now?
I know now that I have to pull myself together and say it directly to Vivian.
What is it precisely that you want to say to Vivian?
I don't know exactly how to say it.
If I were Vivian, what would you say to me right now?
Something like, I know that being fast is important to you, but what's important to me is that we deliver quality too.
How did it feel to say that?
It felt good. It wasn't as hard as I expected it to be.
When are you going to tell this to Vivian?
Well, she's out there now, so why not do it right away?
Go ahead. A linear question can also be to clarify something within a certain perspective. For example, do I understand this correctly, that the next thing you are going to do is to find a way to say what you want to say to Vivian? When will you start? This month or next month? To be an effective coach, you need to ask powerful questions. Powerful questions are questions that really make a difference to help the focus person reflect and move forward. Powerful questions expand the focus person's awareness of own perspectives and possibilities and encourages him or her to take responsibility for a movement. The prerequisite for a powerful question is that you keep your objective attitude, both in words and body language. It affects most coaches when they know they've asked a powerful question and can see that it matters to the focus person. It is easy to start listening on level 1 and celebrate the good question by thinking, "Wow, I'm great at this. What a question I just asked. I really nailed it." It shows in your body language that you are on top, and what can happen is that a powerful question turns into a battle about who is on top and who is the underdog. The focus person gets distracted at a time where it's most important not to be. Get back to your curious and present state of mind. Here are some general guidelines for powerful questions. Ask open-ended questions like, what do you want? What are you avoiding? What is it you haven't said? When are you going to do it? Make your questions short. Minimize your own vocal to keep focus. Rather, what do you want instead of what do you want? I mean, you said that it was important to get a solution, and I believe that you are also closer than ever. Use the other person's words. Integrate and build on what the other person is saying. If the person is saying, "I don't have time for that," ask, "How much time do you need?" Stay focused on the focus person's goal. Ask questions supporting the direction that will lead the focus person to move. There are 6 question types that can help you construct your questions in a powerful way at the right time. The 6 question types are informative questions, relational questions, hypothetical questions, behavioral questions, paradoxical questions, and metaphorical questions. Informative questions are best used when you want to know more. For example, what is your goal? What is your proof that you have reached your goal? What happened then? Where were you? Which opportunities do you see now? Which of the opportunities feels more right for you? What are you going to do now? When will you do it? Relational questions are best used to get to know more about the persons involved. For example, who will be affected by you reaching your goal? Who said what to whom? How did your colleague react? Who can support you? Hypothetical questions are best used to help the focus person to see own situation from a new perspective. For instance, which effect will it have on your environment if you achieved the double of what you are doing now? How would the situation look like if it had been your dad and not you? What would it feel like if you just woke up one morning and the problem no longer existed? If your best friend should give you an advice right now, what would that advice be? Which effect would it have if you started right now and not in a month? Behavioral questions are best used to listen to what the focus person is doing and will do. For example, how important is your goal for you? What did you do? What will you do now? What will you personally do differently to reach your goal? What can you do from now on to talk with your colleague? What can you do differently for your colleague to understand you better? What is your first easy step? What is your first difficult step? Paradoxical questions are best used to separate the person and the problem. Sometimes a person has had a problem for so long that it is difficult to let go of and take actions. The person might think of the problem as something that cannot be solved and will forever be a part of the person. There's no way out. Being coached and seeing different perspectives can be quite tough, since it seemed to be so impossible to solve. Asking questions that opens up for different perspectives separates the problem from the person, and the person is able to see the challenge from outside. That again opens up for solutions. Paradoxical questions can be very surprising to the focus person, since questions like that are not normally asked. For example, what are you thinking right now while we are talking? What is good about this problem since you have chosen to hold on to it? What are you thinking about the problem since it has become a problem? Now that you have decided to do it, what is the first thing you're going to do? Metaphorical questions are best used to help the focus person to see a situation from a distance and in a more objective way. Be aware that visual persons are fonder of metaphors than an audio-digital person, for instance. If your challenge was a landscape, how would it look like? If your possibility should be described with an animal as a metaphor, what would that animal be and why? When you tell me your story, it gives me a picture of you standing at the edge of a cliff and with a free fall of several miles. What is your opinion of this? Inquiries for a deeper reflection. And here are some powerful questions where you can get the focus person to reflect for a longer time, maybe days. High performance. When are you at your best? What is a success? What is your structure for success? What is it like to be exceptional? Personal satisfaction and learning. What motivates you most? What is valuable to you in your working life? What makes your day? What are your expectations? How can you contribute? What have you learned about yourself? What is good enough? What is needed? What does it mean for you to live your personal values? Always useful questions. Can you say more? What else? What kind of questions should I be asking you right now? What is it you haven't said? How can I support you? Now that you have decided to do it, what will you do?